Well, hey, thanks for being here.
Hey, big pleasure.
And everyone watching, I'm Justin Johnson. Please,
Thomas Blug.
from Blug Guitars. And you are down here for NAMM here in Nashville. It's such a pleasure. It's been so fun hanging out with you, getting to know you a little bit. We met just I guess a few days ago, officially up at Gear Fest in Indiana.
Yeah.
And we both took the road trip back here to Nashville for NAMM here. And seeing what you guys are doing was like a dream come true, man, because I've been really excited about this kind of product for a long time. Early when I was living on the road, living from gig to gig and traveling light, trying to be as space efficient as possible. I wish I had one of these years ago. So why don't you tell everyone what you got here, basically what you guys are doing.
Well, it's called the Amp-1, and the Amp-1 is a full nanotube driven 100-watt guitar amp that has even 4 channels.
So it looks like a pedal, basically. Yeah. That's when you look at it.
But hey, if you look closer, this is the power inlet, that's the guitar input, and that's the speaker out. And this is the 3 things that...
And this is the tube right there, basically,
right. Yeah. And this nanotube is important, but the whole concept of this is not being digital, you know? Nowadays,
right.
Small boxes mostly are digital. And there's nothing wrong about being digital, but I wanted to be as close to the real deal tube amp, all tube amp as possible. And so the signal path from in to out is all analog. The only digital thing on the Amp-1 is the reverb chip. Of course,
because it'd be tough to fit a spring reverb or something in there.
Yeah. And it would
be twice the size just for that.
Absolutely, and it would rattle all the time. Mm-hmm. And I thought of the whole concept being a pedal because we need our hands to play. And we still have a few switches here in case you want to switch to another channel and kick in the boost or the reverb or whatever. But think of this like this would be 100-watt all-tube head, and this is what it is. And I've designed this basically, like my dream come true because I have a huge collection of old amplifiers, and they're fantastic, but they're not universal power. They are too heavy,
right?
And they're
you kind of like, at least for me, you like, I love analog tone,
Same,
and that's sort of the thing that I think as a guitar player, when you play either some of those really nice analog amps, vintage amps, you just become sort of in love with that sound. It's not just the way it sounds, but I think when you're playing, it's the way it feels when you play. It responds a certain way. We were talking about it earlier, there's like a sponginess to the tubes that it's sort of like singing. It's much more organic feeling when you have that good tube sound.
And this is like this universal power. So anywhere on this planet where there's a power outlet,
that's awesome.
This amp will sound exactly the same. So this was one of the things that I wanted to get right for this amp. And the another thing is it weighs only 2 pounds. So you can you can throw this in your gig bag,
That's like I saw you when you came in. You had a gig bag, and you said, "I've got 2 amps in it.
Yeah.
I've got guitar, the cables,
everything.
The guitar, and that's just awesome."
I designed it to be a kind of like a replacement to a lot of boutique stuff that is around. So that's why it has the 4 channels.
Yeah,
and that's also why it has 100 watts. I can use the 100 watts once in a while. I mean, now at this. What we just played was like low stage volume, I would say,
Right.
But there is tons more if you need it.
Yeah. So if you're playing with a drummer, you're not mic'd, you can jam out. You can
This unit is used by Uli John Roth. He's the former guitar player in the Scorpions, a German, progressive metal band, that great, and he is known to play full stacks with this.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So he drives 8 speakers with this, and he stands and has some cotton in his ears and goes, "Oh, that's a great tone." He moves air molecules.
He just his hair's moving from the amp behind him. It's like, yeah.
So it
That's
can
awesome.
It can do that too, but it also sounds very nice at a low volume. What we just done.
Well, let's go through. I'm going to tune back up here, and let's go through some of the settings here so
Sure.
people can hear what this amp sounds like.
So you've been on the vintage channel with like a low gain setting, you know.
Okay. Yeah, let me give. I'll give a sound example here. Just.
Yeah. So vintage channel and low gain setting. We switch maybe to the clean channel. And
Oh
then,
yeah, that's nice, man.
Yeah.
I like that.
yeah, so that's, you know, the more straightforward clean tone. I can change the tone of the clean channel on the side from like this. This is kind of a subtle difference. So if it's all the way down, I would call it more Fenderish, and the other side is like a bit more Vox style. Let's try the boost.
Oh man, that's nice. Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I like also, you know, when the clean tone is a little bit, when it's just on the edge of breaking up.
Exactly. Like that's one of the things that I love too. Is if you play it softly, you get that nice clean tone. If you play it harder, it's like a little built-in gain there. That's
Yeah.
great. It's just like a voice. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's also my personal thing. You know, I love it. I'm probably a bit more of a rock player, but you know, what I'm doing personally is I use the whole thing like in the vintage channel and the boost. So I have the whole thing, but on another level. So I have to be very, very touch sensitive.
That's just killer tone, man. It's so hard to get that kind of tone too. And
Hey,
I'm amazed that you managed to get it with such a small little tube there. That's amazing.
Yeah, this channel is kind of voiced after my beloved GTM 45, which is a very old Marshall from 1965, and it has a rectifier tube, so there's the sponginess, you know, and
Yeah.
it has all this magic, you know, we are talking about. I mean,
Exactly. That's what it is. You know, it's magic when you're playing it and it responds the way you want.
Yeah.
It sustains the way you want, and it's priceless, man. That's great.
and there's some more channels here. So we experienced the clean channel and the vintage channel, the classic channel. Let me see if I can get anything that makes sense for you. Basically, this is more like, think of classic rock, like, you know, Deep Purple, AC/DC, and more.
Yeah.
And maybe 80s hair metal as well.
This is what, a 112?
It's a 112. This is
one-
the nano cab.
Uh-huh.
This is our smallest cabinet, you know.
It sounds massive. I love it. You know, it's like, I love it.
Yeah. Okay. And the modern channel does even more. You can go metal with this. I show you.
So it's like loud,
Yeah.
quiet. Yeah,
Okay.
that's awesome.
So the metal guys also have a tone in this amp. So I'm using this amp since I built my first prototype, and it's I played all my gigs with it.
That's a good testing your own your own test group, right?
And I'm very, very critical. When I'm not feeling good with my own product, you know, it's like I have to
Right.
go home.
Yeah.
You know, and work for another week.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, I can't sleep.
So let's play another tune, man. I guess this time let's do some nice clean tone. We'll use some of the reverb that's built in,
Right.
and basically just maybe E minor. That's awesome, man.
Cool.